pelvic floor top tips that you don't want to forget. I'm going to explain to you some of the other really important pieces of advice that I give to all of my clients and patients, whether they have pelvic floor issues like a prolapse, like leakage, vaginal dryness, painful sex, whether they're pregnant, whether they're postpartum, whether they're perimenopausal, menopausal. And I really want to share them with you because I think with social media, we only ever get like really short snippets. But first, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah Thorne. I'm a women's pelvic health physiotherapist and exercise specialist based here in London. I would love for you to follow me. I try to give my best gold standard advice based on evidence and guidance and research, and really I'm here to help empower you, give you the information, give you the confidence to start taking care of your body and start to see improvements in your overall symptoms, in your confidence, in your well-being. So when it comes to pelvic floor care, pelvic floor strengthening, what I need you to remember, number one, is that your pelvic floor muscles do not work in isolation. So that's why I always go on about, whilst it's great to get them firing in the form of our Kegels and our quick lifts and our holds, we also have to challenge and strengthen those muscles in functional movements like walking, like stepping, like squatting, like just standing and holding objects, because that's how they perform. One of the biggest reasons why people don't make progress or don't see improvements is they end up feeling, for lots of reasons like fear, lack of confidence, sometimes it's been advised by health professionals, they only ever stick to kind of the lowest level of muscle strengthening. And like any other injury, we wouldn't just do the same movement or same physiotherapy or same rehab. We would continually progress. And that's why initially people start pelvic floor in lying, then they move to sitting, then they move to standing, then we move to single leg, then we move to integrating it into other movements. And one of the things that I do with my clients is, once we've got those muscles firing, we embed them into other exercises, which actually lots of exercises like bridges, like squats, like lunges actually better activate those muscles. So your pelvic floor works with your diaphragm, works with your core, works with your tummy, works with your back. So the better we get those systems moving and working together, actually the better results, the better strength, the better function of your pelvic floor you are going to experience. So that's really important. So if you are doing pelvic floor and you've only been doing it sitting or you've only been doing it lying, we need to get you doing more. So don't be afraid, okay? Even short bursts or a couple of reps in different, more challenging positions is going to challenge and strengthen those muscles better. Number two, it's not always about strengthening, and it's not always the fault of the pelvic floor. As I've already mentioned, our body works as a unit. So for many people, it's about releasing pelvic floor, because the pelvic floor and the pelvis is at that center point in our body. So it ends up taking a lot of impact, a lot of stress, and a lot of referred pressure. So by actually working on mobility, by actually working on breathing, by actually working to open up your chest, improve your head and neck movement, lengthening out your body, that can actually allow the pelvis and the muscles around the pelvis, including the pelvic floor, to actually lengthen and relax, as well as contract and do their job, which is to act as a shock absorber, to act as part of that core system, and to be able to take pressures. So it's not just about that pelvic floor. Working on mobility is really, really beneficial. I always recommend everyone, if you could do 5 minutes of yoga. I love Adrienne's on YouTube because it's free, it's accessible. She makes you breathe, she makes you stretch, she makes you open up this entire unit. So remembering it's not just about the pelvic floor itself. The pelvis takes so much pressure. Okay, so something for you to consider, something that you could embed that's gentle, that's not going to worsen your symptoms, and actually is better for our long-term health. Okay. Number three, one of the big things that gets missed is as we get older, we are having massive hormonal changes. Unfortunately for women, because we're so lucky, we start to see changes in our hormone, our estrogen levels, our progesterone, and our testosterone. So one thing you can do really short term is you can get some topical estrogen. Okay, that is prescribed by the GP, and topical estrogen is so valuable, does so many great things, and is totally underused and underprescribed. It helps with itchiness, vaginal dryness. It helps with tissue quality, helping rebalance the pH in the vagina. Can also help in terms of leakage and urgency symptoms. So as well, if you've been someone that has painful sex, that maybe gets UTIs, gets thrush, it could be that actually the pH and that natural environment of the vagina isn't kind of like as optimized as it could be. But also topical estrogen or an over-the-counter vaginal moisturizer like Replens are so helpful. And this is something I'm going to be touching a huge amount more now on my TikTok, because it's just being underused. We also recommend it a lot for our newer mums who are breastfeeding, because baby and the breast milk takes the estrogen from the vagina, and so we want to keep everything and keep the vagina as healthy as we can. So really important. And the final piece I'm going to touch on today is your strength training. Lifting weights and doing strength-based exercises for women should be non-negotiable, and my hope is over the next decade and beyond we will get more and more aware and informed, because as we get older, as those hormones start to change, specifically estrogen, that affects our bone health, okay? And unfortunately women are more at risk of things like osteoporosis and broken hips. So being strong and being healthy and being mobile, these are all of the foundation pillars that women need in order to be able to take care of their short-term health as well as their long-term health. So even if you're only starting with body weight squats, body weight lunges, bridges, shoulder presses, it is going to help your body in the short term and the long term. So if you are not already doing some form of strength training, it should be non-negotiable for you, even if it is only 5 minutes. And then as you get more confident, as you start to explore and try different things, it will only help your body and also in turn help your pelvic health and help manage those internal pressures, but also just make you feel well, make you feel healthy. And we know the importance long term of being active on our medical health, on our pelvic health, on our mental health. So these would be my kind of top pieces of advice that I give to every single woman. I also would recommend gut health. Like, gut health is so important for us in terms of vaginal health, in terms of pelvic health, in terms of thyroid function and energy, and matching that with hormone replacement therapy, okay? As we get older, as I've already mentioned, our hormones start to change. Lucky us, and they start to dip. So looking at a form of hormonal replacement therapy, there are so many options, and we're just rebalancing like we would if we were vitamin D deficient. We would look to rebalance it, and this is what we need, and we need more information and more education. But if any of these things have like struck to you, always go and see your GP to discuss any of these issues in more detail. And of course, pelvic health physios, you don't have to wait until there's a problem to come and see us. Thankfully now, because we're advocating so much more, if you're concerned, if you're like, I just want to check, is everything okay? Is my pelvic floor doing well? You know, am I moving well? This gives you that reassurance and that confidence, and also that long-term support, so you don't have to wait. Those are all my top pieces of advice. Of course, I would love to hear from you. Please follow this, and of course, if you have any questions, any comments, add them below. Have a great day.